If you've seen any of the latest media talking about Palworld's popularity, or if you've seen any of the many videos out on YouTube now, you've probably seen it being compared and called a lot as Pokemon with guns. And that's certainly what it is. It's also Pokemon with survival, and Pokemon with boss battles, and Pokemon with a character creator that lets you create a character that should not have ever seen the light of day. Yep, it's Pokemon with everything you've always wanted and some things you really never did. But that's part of the fun. And Palworld lets you go on your own Pokemon adventure that Pokemon doesn't want you to go on either. And so we continue the adventure we've been going on since the last episode. Hopefully even beating our first tower, or gym, if we're going with the Pokemon theme. Our Pokemon Palworld adventure begins back at our base overseeing the cliffs, where I think it's high time I get some clothing. Big Chungus can only be so alluring here. Thankfully the cloth outfit fits me pretty well, or as well as it can, I guess. I'm really glad they found a satchel that fits my enormously large waist compared to my small stomach. I decide it's time to finally head back out, leave my base, and explore the area around it, finding a treasure chest that I have not collected for literal hours at this point, and I go ahead and throw out my new Pokemon, and put him back in. The survivor at the top doesn't have anything new to say, which is weird, considering there's a giant grassy mammoth just hanging out, which definitely was not there earlier. But being level 33, I don't think there's much my level 6 ass can do. So it's time to just let him climb up these cliffs that he can defy gravity on. Good for him. But he's not doing much harm. He's just hanging out. So I let him be, and I decided to go back up and head into the ruins. Gives me one hell of a view of everything. Oh my god, why does this game have a big tree also? Is this Elden Ring? You know, the more I look at this looks like the Elden Ring map. Down below, it's turning night, and I water some berries, which is not something you can do in Elden Ring. And I beat up a fox, which probably is something you can do in Elden Ring. But what you can't do in Elden Ring is have your Dark Owl buddy help you out. Once he's low enough, I toss my own little Pokeball, and I somehow beat a 92% chance to catch him. But it's alright, because apparently I get the 82% chance. Again, I'm not good at math, I'm not even going to try to figure it out. Back in my little Pokedex, apparently I keep finding a lot of other different pals in the world that I don't remember encountering, including this absolutely mammoth big boy who's just patrolling the area. A little fluffy cat, or fox, or something is here, and I decided to give it a little beating, you know, casually. And oh my god, I didn't even get a chance to try to catch him. Oh, he's stomping on his corpse. What is wrong with this dude? Thankfully, I have a little bit better luck when I find two foxes that apparently jump and attack in sync. And while this time I do send out my little Dark Owl to help out, I learned my lesson from last time and throw out one of my spheres before he can send an ice crystal right up through its head. The first catch is successful, getting me a 100% chance and another little Pokepal. While my friend just casually burns in the distance, I hit another sphere and miss, and thankfully right before he can hit him with another crystal, I throw out a sphere and capture 2 for 2, making this another successful run, unlike the last one. This must be Noah's Ark, because now I find another pair of 2 animals, this time being ice water penguins. I send out my fox pal, which was probably a mistake, considering he defeats another one, and I decide I've had enough damage on this ecosystem and build a bed. And my sheep suddenly teleports next to me, which is cool. All the upgrades I've been doing to my base allows me to actually upgrade the base itself, allowing me to have more pals working on it. And apparently a herd of wild pals attacks my base at one point, in which this time my Dark Owl doesn't want to attack, which is strange, and I'm just kind of beating down this dude right here. He's only level 1, so once I bring him down to low enough health, I throw out another sphere and capture him. It's interesting, I didn't know I could capture pals that are trying to attack me. And who knew? He's actually a pretty good gardener, and also transporter. Probably really, take effect of pal labor and put it to good use, building a bench, although don't tell anyone they're not getting paid at all. I upgrade the base once again after I make use of some free exploitable labor, and find out that I can use my fox pal as a literal flamethrower. Man, between forced labor and using your pals as weapons, this game really does have it all. I light this walking pile of mud on fire and hit him with a 95% chance of capturing him. Oh, thank God I caught him. If I didn't catch him, I would have been upset. Apparently, back at the base, my ice Pokemon likes to spray the mud guy right in the back with water. And once daytime happens, he's traded up his water with transportation duties. It's not before long when another raid hits, and a bunch of T-posing NPCs start coming down into my base. But this time, unlike the Pokemon, I can't exactly catch them. So I go ahead and grab some grub from one of the fruit baskets in my base, and all my pals are on high alert, getting ready to attack all those T-posing dudes that are approaching in the waterfalls down below. I'm not quite sure how effective it's going to be using a flame-throwing Pokemon in front of enemies in the actual pool of water. But, you know, it's worth a shot, and this guy gets absolutely obliterated from the power of forced labor and flames. Wow, I can't believe that this guy is just standing here getting attacked by flames and an axe. There's one dude who's stuck in the rock here, and I have no idea how to get to him. In fact, I have no idea how he even got there, but the game resolves as itself, and the raid is over. Once nighttime falls, all my little dudes are sleeping in their beds, and decide it's time for a little grub. Back in the morning, all is well, and there are no more raids. With some pals climbing around the bridge, and I find some llamas, and go ahead and keep up with my track record of violence. Somehow this battle quickly turns into something actually out of Elden Ring as they perform boss moves against me, charging me down and forcing me to not only leap out of the river, but then dodge roll away from their attacks. I capture the first llama, which is good, because he's the first one I've ever captured of his type, but the second one isn't so lucky. I guess I can't be as mad at my pals anymore, considering I'm also hitting them. I attack another similar enemy, whose only attack seems to be charging me down, and have to begin dodge rolling. And once he's low enough, I toss out a sphere, and don't catch him. So I bring him down again, and rather than playing around, I throw out one of my Mega Spheres, which gives me a higher chance of actually capturing this pal. And thankfully I capture him because that's the only Mega Sphere I actually have. Pretty nice antlers. There's a nearby dungeon that I consider exploring, but I'm way too distracted by seeing these two forest mammoths attack each other for no reason, and I have a 0.02% chance of capturing them even when they're low health and a Megasphere. So I go ahead and try my luck. After all, it did work once before, but I guess my luck ran out. Rather than attack a level 35 forest mammoth, I run away and find a not Pikachu group hanging out in the forest. I guess they're incredibly weak to arrows, as a single throw hits them critically and brings them down low enough that all it takes is one more arrow before I can throw out another sphere and capture this one, adding to the count and making sure my Pokemon adventure is even more successful as time goes on. I parachute down and find my first ever egg down by the waterfalls nearby the Pokemon I just captured. It says it's a frozen egg, claiming something is stirring around in it. And nearby it in the plateau, I find another Life Bunk effigy, which is a bonus that helps me get new stats. And there is yet another egg. Back at the base, I go ahead and cook my own eggs, speaking of them, and don't even notice that there's a bunch of random pals that just spawned in out of nowhere. And I don't know why they're all wolves, or why one of them is a clone of one of my own pals. In fact, I'm very glad my pals realized there was a raid going on, because I sure didn't. And apparently everyone's incredibly hungry. With that raid successfully done by my own pals, and not really me, I get another raid. I guess this spot's really popular. But this one's interesting. It's a bunch of pals I actually don't have. So rather than completely knocking them out, I decided it might be fun to actually capture one of them for my own collection. I send out a sphere, and after one single throw, I actually managed to capture the first one. I consider catching more, but one's enough. I figured that all these raids are being too much, and I really need to start building up the fortifications at this base. I get to it, throwing down a bunch of fortification walls, a bit of platforms, and then I go ahead and put up a sentry, allowing me to go ahead and station a pal there, where they'll be able to look out for any dangers, which is better than what I can do, apparently. But the main problem I'm running into here is there's no way up to my base, and the stairs can't exactly clip into the cliff walls themselves. So this fort wall just kind of exists. Good on me, I guess. Oh my god, it's another raid. How many raids are there going to be in this playthrough? This time, the raid is the exact same as last one. I think even down to the exact pals, too. I'm not exactly good at dodging and get hit with a little spew of poisonous clouds, but all my pals are thankfully better at aiming than I am, and are able to shoot them down and get rid of the second Pal raid ever. I think it's kind of ironic that I put together a whole foot wall down below and they ended up attacking above. Deciding I've had enough of raids for one day, I decide I want to be the raider this time, and I teleport over to the nearby tower and find one of the enemy syndicate camps just kind of hanging out. They seem to have captured pals and are keeping them hostage in their own camp, so I go ahead and raid them myself, using my bow and arrow and a combination of a few spear attacks to take them all out, and I even freed a pal, earning myself a level 4 Swede, whatever that is. Apparently there's nothing you can do to take down these flags, even though no one exists here anymore, so I decide to settle for the next best thing. I teleport back and decide to attack the Rayne Syndicate Tower. I've never actually done one of these before and have no idea what to expect, but I figure I'm geared up enough, so let's try it out. The battle starts in what really feels like Elden Ring, again, for like the 8th time this video, and I get approached by a definitely not Pokemon trainer, and by a definitely not Pokemon boss that she's also captured inside her own sphere. Wow, now that guy looks cool, but I always thought he was supposed to have a gun with him. Although then again, I probably shouldn't give this guy any more ideas than he needs. The boss battle starts against Zoe and Grisbolt, where I only have 10 minutes to defeat a boss with 30,000 health. Also, I forgot to mention that I only have 25 arrows, and none of my Pokemon actually counter this dude. The boss battle itself is pretty difficult. He's able to stun me, and in response, my Dark Owl stuns him. But it's not exactly what I need to do, as the boss is able to put out some serious damage against not only me, but also my Dark Owl dude, even though it's not even one of the weakness types. His attacks are able to electrify me, and it's at this point that I haven't really learned the mechanics, so my Owl dude just kind of sits there and gets laser beamed to death. I send out another one of the pals I captured earlier in the video, and he actually does pretty effective, since his charge moves are able to quickly take down the Grisbolt. But one by one, I'm quickly losing more and more of my pals to the boss. And the timer runs out, so I decided to just take a quick little dirt nap apparently. All my items may have dropped, but there's one thing you don't have to drop as a viewer. If you want, you can consider going down to this video right now and dropping a subscription, a like, and consider checking out the other videos on the channel. I've already made a Palworld video before, earlier in the week, and I've also posted not only a bunch of Palworld shorts, but also a bunch of other shorts and videos from Minecraft, Skull and Bones, No Man's Sky, and a bunch of other content. So if you like Palworld, consider subscribing, as there'll be plenty more videos like that. Or if you like any other sort of gaming variety that you can see on the channel, consider subscribing and liking those videos too. It always means a lot, and provides me a much needed distraction from my work being in law school. I decided after my first defeat, it's time for round 2. And I head right back into the arena. This time, unlike the first time, I actually get some pals together that directly counter this boss. You see, as an electric type pal, he's directly countered by mud and earth type pals. So I go ahead and bring 2 of these little mud dudes that I captured earlier, and before the battle had them leveled up to be able to actually take him down. Also, I have a triple shot bow. That means for every 1 shot, I managed to get 3 shots off on Grisbolt, at the expense of only 1 arrow. And just to top it all off, I upgraded one of my little dream Pokemon to allow them to always fight with me and be untargetable, making this boss fight much easier than it used to be. Only 7 minutes in, I've finally learned the mechanics of how this works, and, more importantly, I've almost brought Grisbolt down to half health, with more than half my time remaining. Shot after shot and wind after wind shot from some of my pals break down Grisbolt even more, and added to the Elden Ring reference counter, I keep dodge rolling and jumping around to avoid his attacks, learning Grisbolt's patterns and making sure I can avoid them when applicable. Moving around my different cycle of pals and putting them in rotations in different spots means I'm always able to counter Grisbolt, and with 3 minutes left, he has a bit more health than I would like him to have, but that's nothing I can't solve. I dodge roll out of the way of some attacks, and with 1 minute to spare and 1 mud ball left, I shoot him down, and my first boss is done. As a little bit of victory, I get 5 ancient technology points, and go ahead and earn my own quick travel point also. And I decided I've also earned a little bit of meals for myself, and I guess my pals too. But, you know, I'm still gonna make sure they're doing hard labor. I mean, look at them go. They're running around, watching me cook. Couldn't have asked for more loyal pals, if we're being honest. Also, if we're being honest, I don't know why that dude over there lost all of his color. That happened in the raid for some reason, and I don't remember why that happened, but I guess I have a newly colored pal. Cool. I wonder if that makes him a real shiny. I mean, he is shiny, and he is glistening. These are the kinds of philosophical questions I never thought I'd ask in Palworld. But, you know what? I don't care that much. Time to go ahead and eat.